All right, well, let's get started. So, this is your cosmic energy forecast for the week of November 24th through the 30th. Woo! It's been a ride. So, how do we use this cosmic energies, these flows, to move into a state of complementary consciousness? Because we're coming out of that competitive consciousness into this real compassionate kind of consciousness, like a complementary, where we complement each other and everyone else. And then how do we move through these stages? Like, right, we're moving into this age of Aquarius, and we have a lot of eclipses coming, and we have the solstice energies coming, and then we have 2021, which is going to be a doozy. So, the real question, how do we function? So hopefully you find this useful. This week, like right now, today, tomorrow, the next day, there is a little encouraging energy. But you're only experiencing it, you're only feeling it if you are actually using your intuition to guide you. If you're not using your intuition, I suggest you start. Because intuition is literally your key. It's literally the key to you guiding into the new ideas, the new concepts, the new kind of thing, right? Like the cosmic energies are just bombarding us with newness. And if we're not using our intuition to pick up on those new ideas about the self, then we're going to totally miss the boat. And 2021 is going to be really rough. I know. I hear you. I really hear you. You will, if you're actually, here's what's happening. If you are not using your intuition if you're not listening to your intuitiveness, you will remain enslaved. I'm not joking here. You will remain enslaved to those old paradigms. And whatever paradigm you're enslaved to, maybe it's the money paradigm, maybe it's family paradigm, maybe it's a religious paradigm, maybe it's a whatever separates you from everyone else. Literally, that's the paradigm. That's those old kind of paradigms, the things that separate you, that hold belief systems that tell you you're different from everyone else. You're going to dive deeper and deeper into that in 2021. Because those are not new paradigms. Those are old paradigms. We're leaving those behind us. And your intuitiveness, your intuition is the one that's going to drop those keys into you for how to become like maybe more productive, how to become more abundant. Like abundance is the whole thing for 2021 and beyond. And if you're not aligned with that abundance in every area of your life, then there's some things you're going to have to work through, some shadows, like the rest of us. So, but you will feel this yearning, this deeper yearning, and you're probably feeling it now, and you probably have been for a little while, but it starts to get deeper and deeper and deeper as we move more into that penumbral kind of energy, that eclipse energy. This yearning of something new, something fresh, something has to change, right? So that's really what your intuition is pushing you towards, literally pushing you towards. If you don't know how to use your intuition, you might want to call me. We might want to get together and I can teach you how. All right, so moving on in the week, then we move into the emotions, which has and will continue to trigger the state of urgency that you are experiencing right now. You've been experiencing it if you're listening to your intuition, if you're tapping into the consciousness of who you are. If you are doing those things, you're feeling this urgency. this sense of I gotta do something, I have to change, I have to do this, I have to do that. Like this state of urgency that everyone is experiencing at some level. Even as even the unconscious are experiencing this sense of urgency at some level. So this sense of urgency does one of two things. It will either move you into a state of insecurity, or it will push you into a state of boldness. And it totally depends on your belief systems and what your programming is. So when you use your senses, if you're still using your senses instead of using vibrations, this vibration of urgency goes directly into the nervous system, because that's where the old programmings are residing right now, in your nervous system. When this happens, you have either defined, according to your belief systems, this feeling as panic, or let's just do this. Let's go out and get it done. You see the difference? You're going to move into anxiety or panic, which is the old paradigms of, the old belief systems that are trying to hang on, or you're moving into a state of boldness, where it's like, yeah, let's just go and do this. Let me create the new me. Let me align with with my soul's desire. So there's literally a separation that's happening within each of us. Even though there's separation outside of us always, because we live in that world of duality, now we're experiencing it on the inside. And probably a good portion of people who are either awake or awakening have been experiencing that all of 2020. If you haven't been experiencing any of that, one of two things. Either you're well on the way, like this has been the best year of my entire life, like the abundances just keep flowing and flowing and flowing. I'm happy in my relationships. I've pivoted when I needed to pivot. And yeah, it's been the greatest year ever. I have no complaints about it at all. If you're not in that kind of a state, then you've been in a state of that sense of urgency, where it's literally those elements of first dimension and second dimension of survival, literal survival, and fight or flight come into play. So, I know, I hear you. I still hear you. All of this is being magnetized by this eclipse energy, which comes in, the eclipse. There's a penumbral eclipse on the 30th, and where I can already feel the penumbral energy. So, and as we know, penumbral eclipses, right, means that it is very grounded in shadow energy. Penumbral deals with the moon. And the moons, when we have penumbral eclipses, it's all about shadow kind of energy. It brings it up to the surface for you to deal with. So if you are feeling this sense of urgency as panic, or let's just go out and do this, it will feel as if it is 10 times stronger with this penumbral energy. Because penumbral energy, even though it's shadow, it magnetizes everything. So the point of eclipses, though, eclipse energy is literally to open the doorways for you to pivot, for you to walk through in like a 90-degree angle. If you're here on this track, penumbral energy comes in and says, let's go this way. Again, if you're not taking the advantages that the cosmos is literally dishing out here in this year of 2020, then staying stuck is probably going to be your MO for 2021. If you're taking the opportunities, then 2021 is going to be extremely pleasant. But if you're not taking these opportunities, it's going to be miserable. Because 2021 is going to be the hardest year that humanity has ever experienced, probably in a good 100 years. Energetically, it's just going to be bombarded one thing after another, after another, after another. Because we have to pivot. As a Mass collective, we have to pivot. So it's a great month or a great week. It's a great week for pivots, to look at your shadow energy, to don't be afraid of shadow. And shadow doesn't have to mean that it's dark or black or negative energy. Sometimes shadow energy is our greatest accomplishments. Sometimes shadow energy is you resisting your own soul self. That can be shadow energy. We all want to say that we're aligned with our soul, but do you take time to be with your soul self? Do you incorporate your soul self in this human body, in this human experience? Because that's where we're headed. Bringing the two together in a unity, in a form of unity. See, there's these ideas and concepts out there that we're all just going to be magically unified with each other. You can't magically unify with anything unless you and your soul self are unified. That's the DNA pivot. That's literally what we're working through for the next 7 years before the DNA physically changes. Now, you can physically change your own DNA by doing this work to become more in alignment, to pay attention to what the soul's desires are, to stop resisting your own magnificence, understanding your essence, stop playing in the chaos, right? Move into the 7 powers of the soul. I mean, it's not hard work. You just have to make a decision and a commitment. If you do nothing else, from now until the end of 2021, let that be you committing to yourself, you committing to understanding your own essence, your own energy, your own the depth of who you are. Releasing from the belief systems, releasing from the ego, releasing from all of those kinds of the things that we've had in the past, those paradigms. So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining today. So, it's a fun week, honestly. If you're like into diving into yourself, and if you're really into, being committed to your own evolution, then it's going to be a great week. Penumbral eclipse energy is upon us. Be sure to pivot. You can pivot anytime. It's not like it's on the 30th only, because you could feel the energies already. So don't be afraid to pivot. It's good. It's all good. All right. This is Angela Blaha signing off from the cosmos. I hope you have the most amazing week ever.